I have a badass question for you. What percentage of the time do you still lie to yourself? Get that fucking trash out of your life. You have legacies to build. We grew that business from 3.4 million to 17.1. Horsepower, not horse shit. You want to be the parent that's an ally. They don't need another fucking friend. Not everybody's cup of whiskey. Toughest advice for the toughest businessmen. Be relentless. What percentage of the time do you still lie to yourself, negotiate with the bad wolf, negotiate with the process, cut corners, make deals with the devil? What percentage of time do you still lie to the man in the glass? Back in my boozing days, I would constantly be lying to myself, making deals with the bad wolf, not sticking to the process. I knew that it took what it took, but it didn't make any difference. I would consistently lie to the man in the glass. And we all do it. I don't know anybody really that doesn't lie to themselves to some degree. But the more successful you become in life, the happier you become, the more peace of mind, the more integrity you live with, the more you live in congruence with your values, with your principles, the less you're going to be lying to the man in the glass. The unhappiest people I know, the men that are sedated, medicated, men that are not showing up in their own homes, in their own marriages, not showing up for their families, cowards and mental slaves, the quiet desperation crowd, I can call them. They are constantly lying to the man in the mirror. And consequently, when we lie to the man in the glass, you end up, good morning, Tim. We end up lying to the most important people in our world, which is, of course, your queen, your children, your grandchildren, your employees, your close friends. So it's a vicious cycle of being untruthful with yourself. So what percentage of the time are you still lying to yourself? This is a question that I asked my Mastermind members last week. You can apply for my World Builders Mastermind at badassworldbuilders.com, badassworldbuilders.com. This is the kind of deep thinking and get to the heart of the matter that we deal with in our masterminds. So back in my drinking days, I would negotiate the process. I would make deals with myself. I would say to my wife, Krista, I'd say, all right, I'm not going to drink for 30 days. And then I wouldn't drink for 30 days. When a cleaner or a badass makes a deal or a promise, that part is pretty simple because we're alpha males who love a challenge. You think I have a drinking problem? I'll stop drinking for 30 days. And they stop drinking, you stop drinking for 30 days. You think I have an issue with this? Boom, that's the personality. That's the top 1% personality. I'll show you, chip on the shoulder. But that's not progress. That's not committing to a solution. So I would stop drinking alcohol for a month. And I'd be so proud of myself. I'd be like, piece of cake, 4 weeks, no drinking. And at about day 30, I'm at my very best. I haven't had a drink of poison in 30 days, and what's happened? My marriage has improved in a month. My relationship with Emery has improved in a month. I'm reading, I'm writing at a high level. I'm happy, I've got peace of mind. I have zero anxiety. Things are going extremely well. So what would I do? I would negotiate with myself. I would negotiate with the bad wolf, and I would say things like this. I would lie to myself. I would say, well, that was great, Michael. I'm gonna go get, I used to drink rye and water, whiskey and water. My father did, my grandfather did. That's all I drank. I didn't drink hardly, I wouldn't have 10 beer in a year. You know, I love a beer after a hockey game, or after, you know, on a hot day on the boat, maybe. But I was a whiskey and water drinker. Nothing but the hard stuff for yours relentless. So I don't drink pop either, so everything was mixed with water. So I would lie to the man in the glass, and I'd say, well, I'm going to get a bottle of whiskey for the weekend, and I'm going to enjoy these 2 days. I deserve this. I deserve this. I've been working hard. I've been earning, all that kind of stuff. And it's nice weather, and it's the summer, or it's the spring, or it's Christmas, or it's St. Patrick's Day. And I would literally then check out on my family for 3 days. I put Krista in a difficult situation. I would be basically completely mentally somewhere else. And I would just, you know, go boating, sit on the end of the dock, and I would drink for 1 or 2 days. But that's what I deserved, because I had been working so hard. And then I'd get to the end of the 3 days and I'd be like, oh, well, I deserve that. I deserve that, so I can do that again next weekend. I had promised myself that I was only going to drink for a couple of days on a Saturday or Sunday. But you know what? Liars are liars. So next weekend comes along. There was no, you know, I deserved that last weekend. So after work on a Friday, I drive to the liquor store and guess what? Another bottle of whiskey. Well, I deserve that, man. The man in the glass says I deserve that. I know it's bad for my health. I know I'm going to end up with diabetes. I know it burns down the rest of my week. I know it destroys all the hard work I've been doing during the week. I know it dehydrates me. I know it's like drinking ethanol. I mean, I know that it makes me less of a man, less of a husband, less of a father. I know that it's making me fat. I know that it's making me tired, but I deserve it. So these are the cycles that we go through when we lie to ourselves. And I used to then push it to the end. I was fighting hard to keep this so-called friend in my life. Alcohol was a friend, right? Any addiction is a friend. So man, did I stand up for my friend. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? I can go 60 days. I can go 2 months. Man, I go 2 months. Not a single drop. I'm coaching hockey. I'm getting better every day. I'm even better than when I quit for a month. Man, I get to 60 days. I can't wait. I'm counting it down. I'm so proud. I'm telling Krista 59 days, 60 days, celebration time. End of the dock, sit on the boat, whatever. Just checked out, sedate it, medicate it, whatever you want to call it. I stopped reading, I stopped walking, I stopped copywriting. Everything comes to a grinding halt, because alcohol does what alcohol does. It makes you less, it steals. Alcohol is a thief. Drink enough and alcohol is a thief. I'm not talking about a glass of red wine at a dinner. I'm not talking about a cold beer on a Sunday afternoon after golf. I'm talking about drinking, hard. So all of a sudden, all the things, good morning, all the things that, are serving me, helping me become an elite man, the elite version of myself, all that stuff is the first thing to go. I wake up, I negotiate and lie with myself, and I don't walk. Well, I was up till 2 a.m. When I was drinking, Krista would go to bed by herself. Because I would say, well, I'll be up in a few minutes at 11 o'clock. And I would then turn on Sports Center, and then she would sometimes say to me, at midnight, she'd get up again, and she'd say, are you coming to bed? And I'd be saying, yeah, I'll be up in a minute. I'm a liar, fucking liar. And I'd pour myself another drink, and I'm loving it, right? The fireplace is on, or in the summer, the cool breeze, the warm breeze is coming off the lake. I got all the windows open. I'm sitting there on the couch with a 62-inch TV in front of me, fireplace, or the cool, good morning, the cool breeze off the lake. I mean, it's the life I dreamed of, right? But I'm there alone. It's not, it's, I used to think that was the greatest thing in the world. That was relaxation or solitude. And actually it's just loneliness. It's just pathetic. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, my wife would get up to use the bathroom, and she would lean over the railing. We live in this big A-frame, and she would lean over and she'd say, are you coming to bed? And maybe then I would come up to bed. This would be on a Saturday night. So what good am I the next day for my family? What good am I the next day for my family? Am I gonna get up and walk? No. Am I gonna get up at 5 o'clock like I do here? No. Am I gonna copyright Operation Money Suck? No. Am I gonna be able to sit and read a book? No. Just telling that story makes my stomach turn. It literally makes my stomach turn because it's been so long, over 1.5 years since I've lived that life, that story makes me sick to my stomach. And when you're doing what you're doing, you don't have any concept. You're not self-aware, right? It's just like, oh, the next day, if it's a Sunday, have a few more drinks. So you're not self-aware that you're not showing up. You're not self-aware that you've checked out. You're not self-aware that you're slowly killing yourself. So that was a big one for me. The fact that I would lie to myself about drinking alcohol and what it was doing to myself and my world and the people in my world led to multiple lies in other areas. Like I said, I would skip. I'd wake up late. I'd wake up at 9 o'clock. I'd wake up at 9:30, 10 o'clock on a Sunday. Well, the day's half gone, a beautiful day, and I'm lying in bed. Well, that's because I was sitting on my ass till, 2:30 in the morning. Or maybe we were at a party, or maybe we were at a cookout. We're the last to leave because of what? Alcohol. So all of these different things, it just disintegrates on you. And alcohol does what alcohol does. But by lying to myself about the big thing, poisoning myself, it burned to the ground all the other details that matter. It burned to the ground my walking, my reading, and my writing. And then I wonder why I wake up on a Monday feeling anxious, feeling stressed, feeling worried. I'm not ready to go. I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm yawning. I'm eating carbohydrates because when you drink alcohol, the first thing to go is your diet. I'm dehydrated. And then you start feeling a little bit better around Tuesday and Wednesday, and hell, the week's half over. So lying to myself just cost me millions of dollars. Lying to myself cost me, years off my life. Lying to myself cost me valuable time with the most important people in my life. So I've course corrected. I couldn't live with losing anymore. To me, that's losing. Poisoning yourself and separating yourself from your family is losing. Not showing up as the best version of yourself is losing. And burning it to the ground every weekend is losing. The weekends are 30% of your life. And like the great Sam Ovens said, it's pouring gasoline on a plant. If we're a plant, you know, we hydrate, we drink water, we fertilize, we read, we study, we grow, we exercise, we eat clean, we hang around good people. We do all these things for the plant. And the plant is flourishing after a few days, you know. Lots of water, lots of good food, lots of sunlight, lots of fresh air, all of the stuff that we bring into our worlds when we're winning. And then on a Friday or a Saturday or more, you just decide to pour an entire can of gasoline on your plant. That's how the 99% live at best. Weekends make you weak. Weekends make you weak. So that used to be my life. That was my life, you know, build it up, burn it down. Build it up, burn it down. And when I was a younger man in my 20s and 30s, I could recover quickly, right? I would have a few drinks on a Friday or a Saturday, and it really didn't mean a lot. I wasn't a father. I wasn't married. And alcohol's a young man's game. Drinking is a young man's game. So I could rebound quickly. But when I got into my mid-40s and when I turned 50, I was like, the good Lord kept tapping me on the shoulder and saying, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You're losing time, you're losing money, you're losing your energy, there's going to be delayed consequences with this. And finally, I answered the call. But it took years and years and years of lying to the man in the glass to finally decide to stop poisoning myself. And it's interesting, Matthew McConaughey was being interviewed a couple weeks ago, and I watched a short clip of it. And he was talking about something that he stopped doing. He stopped doing a tough decision that he stopped doing. And the interviewer said to McConaughey, he said, you know, that must be hard. That must be, good morning, that must be difficult. And McConaughey turned and looked at the interview person and said, you and I both know that isn't fucking hard. He said what was hard was making the decision. Deciding and cutting off was the decision. He goes, it took me years to decide, to cut off and eliminate. He said what was hard and difficult and pathetic was the fact that I negotiated with myself. I lied to myself for 2 decades. And then he finally made the decision to swift sword this particular thing out of his life. But we spend all our time negotiating with ourselves. We spend all our time fighting for our demons. Do you know how many years and decades I fought for my demons? Like it was like they were I kept fighting for my dark passenger. Oh, well, you know, I can handle this. I can control this. It's only the weekends. I can go 3 months, 2 months. Good morning. You're just constantly going to war for your demons. You're not fighting for freedom. You're not fighting for your children. You're not fighting for your queen. You're not fighting for your marriage. You're not fighting for your business. We're fighting for our demons. We're fighting for the bad wolf. So, interesting. Damn nice. There's one of my favorite guys in the community. He's retired and volunteers at the animal rescue shelter. And as you can see, he's a surfer. And he's Tim would be about 60, but you would think he's about 35. And he just came up behind me there on that skateboard. And he's one of my daughter's dog walking clients. And what's great about a guy like Tim is he doesn't need his dog walked. As soon as he got Emery's flyer, this is the type of guy he is. As soon as he got Emery's flyer, he was so impressed by her ambition and entrepreneurship. He's like, I'll take 5 walks. And I said, don't I see you walking your dog all the time? He's like, yeah, I love it. He said, but I want to support her. Didn't know her, didn't know us when we got here. That's a guy, you know, kindness, just an incredible and youthful. Like that guy's never letting the old man in. That guy is never letting the old man in. He just went flying by on a Sunday morning at 7:10, and he's on a skateboard, and he'll probably go surfing later today. Amazing guy. I'm not impressed by most people, but he's a guy I want to be around. Talk about great energy. Talk about great mindset. So anyways, we literally go to battle for our demons. We literally go to war for our for the black wolf. Well, you know, I can eat those foods, or, you know, I can drink on the weekends, or, you know, the odd cigarette doesn't hurt, or, you know, I love to gamble. I don't have a lot of other, you know, vices. Well, you know, I like to stay up late at night and watch TV. You know, I love the news. Oh, you know, I'm a political junkie. I've always been a political junkie. My cell phone, you know, it's business. It's business. I'm using it for business. I'm not a cell phone junkie. It's for business. I have control of that. Same with artificial intelligence. I'll just use that for business. You know, I'm not checking out porn sites. I'm not gambling. I'm not on poker sites. No, I'm not wasting time on Facebook or YouTube. No. And you're lying to yourself, which means you're lying to your family. And you're lying to your personal God too. You know, everything changed when I got a tap on the shoulder and the good Lord said, Michael, time for a change. And admittedly, it took a few times to do it, but I've never looked back. Greatest decision I ever made in my life. Next to Mary and Krista, greatest decision I ever made in my life. I've literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million since. I have saved myself my most precious assets, which is my health and my time and my energy. I've worked so hard to build this badass world. Why am I doing something that's going to shorten it? Why am I doing something that's going to have delayed consequences? So I stopped lying to myself. I stopped negotiating the process. And I just sat down and decided that it takes what it takes for me to achieve my mission of serving 1 million men like you. I want to help 1 million elite, driven, and generous men like you build the badass world of your dreams. I want to help 1 million men become the best version of themselves. Nothing more complicated or loftier than that. 1 million best version of themselves. Help them live life and do business on their own terms. So for me to do that, and I've mentioned this to Mark Andre, for me to do that, I couldn't be still drinking alcohol. I couldn't still be eating the diet I used to be on. I couldn't, be 23 pounds overweight. I couldn't be not reading. I couldn't be not copywriting. I couldn't be not walking. I've done over 425 videos in the last year and a half. And I did 365 straight days last year of videos. Do you think I could have ever done that if I was still lying to myself about drinking? Do you think I could ever have written a book like I did last year if I had been still lying to myself about poisoning my world? Do you think I could accomplish any of the things that we've done over the last year and a half with this company if I was anything less than the best version of myself? I have a long way to go. I have a lot of areas that I need to improve in. There's a ton of work ahead for me, but I'm showing up today as the best version of myself because of that one single decision. And that decision could be anything. Like I said, it could be gambling, it could be diet, it could be pornography, it could be cell phone addiction, it could be television, it could be vomit politics, it could be toxic anti-social media. Any of these things, we just lie to ourselves, lie to the man in the glass. So answer that question for me today. What percentage of the time are you still lying to yourself? When I asked my mastermind members this last week, it was interesting. My most successful members, and I'm talking success, applause at home, heroes in their own home, wealth, happiness, all the guys that are in the big leagues when it comes to that stuff. They've got applause at home. They're heroes in their own home. They're in a safe harbor financial position. All of my cleaners and closers and rainmakers, my big dogs, all said they still lie to themselves about 10%. So if I would have asked them that question before the masterminds over the last year and a half, they probably would have said 70%. How much of the time do you bullshit yourself and the man in the mirror? Probably would have been 75% of the time, at least 50. They're lying to their wives, they're lying to their children, they're lying to their employees, they're lying to their business partners. But most importantly, we're lying to the man in the mirror. Well, I'm gonna start walking. I'm gonna start reading. I'm gonna start putting my cell phone away at 6 o'clock so I can be present with the people that matter the most. And you know how I can spot a liar? And I was a liar because this was easy to spot. You know how I can spot a man who's not serious about winning? Environment. So we had some friends over this year out at the lake just before New Year's. Just a family thing. 5 people. They were cousins of ours and some friends that we knew from school. Really nice people. And you get the talk always before New Year's, right? Well, I need to lose some weight, Michael. We're gonna stop drinking. You know, it's not good for our kids. It's not good for our health. And when you hear that lack of specificity, that lack of specific niching, like, you know, when a person says, I just gotta lose some weight. Well, that, first of all, it just means they're not serious. They haven't written it down. They haven't visualized the outcome, and they haven't decided on the 2 or 3 process goals they have to do every day. So a person who's serious about winning would say something like this. They would say, I need to lose 22 pounds. I got to get back to where I was. I need to lose 22 pounds. And the 3 things that I'm going to do every day to make it happen are, I'm going to walk for 30 minutes. I'm going to cut out all of my breads and wheats. I'm going to get rid of the 3 toxic poisons: processed white sugar, processed white flour, and processed white salt. And I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day instead of pop and coffee. So if they do those 3 things, if they walk, they drink water, and they amend their diet, you know, the 22 pounds will be gone. May take 6 months, may take 6 weeks, may take a year. That's a person who's serious about winning, because it's all about environment, right? And then if I opened up their fridge, I would furthermore decide whether they're serious. Is there processed white flour, processed foods with sugar and salt in the kitchen, in the fridge? The fridge says it all. Just show me a person's fridge. And then I know whether they're serious because of environment. It's like when I stopped drinking, when I meant it, I poured all the alcohol down the sink. I poured all the alcohol down the sink and I stopped buying alcohol. Never been in a liquor store since. Almost a year and a half. There's no alcohol in either of our homes. There's no alcohol in my offices. There's no alcohol in the back of my vehicle. I don't go to things. I don't hang out with people that are heavy drinkers. Piece of cake, because my environment is clean. My environment has none of that. And I write down that goal every day. So the difference is, people that are serious, they write the goal down. They write it down 2 times a day. I'm alcohol free as an example. You write your goals down as if I am 25 pounds lighter. I am alcohol free. I am a 7-figure earner. I am a deeply connected husband. I am a hero in my own home. That's the kind of stuff that you write down the goal as if it's happened. Like I write down, I am alcohol free. Or I am a man who does not consume alcohol. So I'm telling my brain every day that that's no longer part of my identification. I've made the shift. And I write that down every morning in my journal and every evening. And then my environment takes over. My fridge, my liquor cabinet, my vehicle, my home, my shoes at the door, my rucking vest at the door. I write 1 hour per day. Well, my MacBook is out this morning, sitting in my home office with one single sheet of paper waiting on it. The screensaver is my next number 1 goal. And I have a timer on the desk, and I'll sit down and I'll set the timer for 60 minutes. And I'll sit down and I'll write for 1 hour on a Sunday. I'll write for 1 hour before everybody is even up. And simple as that. Then I'll get that stuff moving, and it could be an email, it could be a telegram, it could be a couple articles. Today, good morning. Today it's going to be a couple articles for my newsletter. So you can subscribe to the Michael McLean letter at badassletter.com. You can get on the May subscription list, badassletter.com. That's my monthly paper and ink world building letter. That's good morning. So that's at badassletter.com. So that's the message for today. That's the lesson for today. Good morning. Answer that question for me, and you can reply to this email. What percentage of time are you still lying to yourself? And give examples of how. Give us an example about how you're still lying to yourself. And hopefully you're in the 5%, 10%, 15%. But if you're in the 75% of the time, then the good news is massive growth can be made with a few single decisions. When I got rid of alcohol out of my home, that was the biggest decision I made. When I got rid of carbohydrates out of my fridge, that was the biggest decision I ever made. When I got rid of all these applications on my, good morning, on my phone, whether it was for news, professional sports, or politics, when I had no access to news or politics or social media, those were huge wins, and you can do the same. If you buy a safe or a lockbox and put it at the front door where you put your keys at night, and you literally shut off your phone and lock it away, not power it down, lock it away from 6 p.m. till the next day, that's a massive, massive win for you. And environment is for champions, and willpower is for chumps. So you're either serious or you're not. And stop lying to yourself if you're not. If you're like me back in my boozing days, 30 days, 60 days, 100 days, but I wasn't serious about stopping. And then finally, I said, you know what? I can't accept losing, and I can't accept This whole thing makes me sick to my stomach, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I stopped tolerating mediocre behavior in my world. Drinking is ordinary behavior. It's what average people do. Nothing, I'm not preaching. You can do what you want, but I don't want anything average or ordinary or mediocre in my world. So if that's true, if I'm a man of my word, then I cut those things out. I slash those things out with an axe. I swift sword them. I cut the rope. So alcohol was just one where I was like hanging on to my demon. I was defending the bad wolf. He was my friend. He was my friend on the end of the dock. I went to war for my dark passenger. And then at the end, I finally wised up and said, why am I fighting for my enemy? Why am I fighting for my enemy? And I looked in the mirror and I said, Michael, stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. You know you need to upgrade. You know you need to make a change. You know you have to stop this behavior. So I decided, like McConaughey said, and the rest has been simple. I would like to tell you about some story about how difficult it's been and, you know, all the challenges I've had. But since I decided, it has been simple. It's been simple. It was friggin' hard before because I wasn't serious about winning. It was so hard not to drink because my environment was full of alcohol, my friends, my associates, my lifestyle, my office, everything. But since I've amended all that, I have to say it's been simple, not hard. It's been simple, not hard. And I don't say that with any arrogance. I say that environment is for champions. Environment is champions. I've done the same thing with my diet. I open up that fridge and the only options in there are healthy. You know, it's next to impossible for me to misbehave. Sure, I can hop in a car and go to the beer store. I can hop in a car and go get a bag of chips. But what's really great about environment is I'm not going to hop in a car and go get a thing of beer. I'm not going to hop in a car and go get a bag of chips. And so environment's for champions and willpower is for men who are not serious about winning. So I need your fax number. You can send your fax to get on my private confidential marketing fax list. I send a fax once a week. If you do not have a fax, you can purchase the M-Fax software below. It's inexpensive and it allows my faxes to come to your email. So you don't need a fax machine. You should have one. I have 2 of them. But nonetheless, this is my free Project Mayhem fax list. It's my confidential fax. I send my best stuff to you. Marketing, money, sales, advertising, mental toughness. I send a fax once a week, no cost to you. Could be an article I tear out of a magazine, could be something I read, something I studied, it could be a money-making tip, it could be an ad, it could be something that is bringing me money or helping me. And just send your fax, reply to this email with your fax number, and Leanne will add you to our fax list, no problem. Her email is below, leanne@badassmillionaire.com. And just put your fax number in there and your name, and if not, buy the M-Fax and get that. The other thing is make sure that when it comes to, if you need a copy, by the way, of my book, How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked in Business and Life, go to nobullbook.com. nobullbook.com and grab a copy. I'll send you one of these badass t-shirts as a free gift with your new book. nobullbook.com. It's a physical book, paper and ink. It's about 269 pages. And it's my 25 rules for living life and doing business on your own terms. nobullbook.com. If you want to subscribe to my monthly Michael McLean newsletter, you can do that at badassletter.com. That's badassletter.com. And as well, morning. I'll send you a different black t-shirt, one that is Be Relentless. So that's a nice gift with subscribing to my monthly newsletter. If you're interested in one of my masterminds, you got to start with my world building mastermind. Go to badassworldbuilders.com, badassworldbuilders.com, and apply. And I'll get back to you in a few days, yes or no. Please reply to this email. I read them all. Leanne will send them, Marc-Andre will send them all to me, and answer this question. What percentage of the time are you still lying to yourself? And put in there examples. I gave you a whole bunch of personal examples today for myself, and also a solution. What do you think? What's something you can decide to do that would reverse this, that would stop you lying to yourself in this particular situation? What's the solution as well? And the good news is one single decision can transform a man's life. That's it. What percentage of the time are you still lying to yourself? Let me know. I read every one of them, and I love feedback from my tribe. That's it. 2 words that changed my life. 2 words that can change your life. Be relentless.